host the Commanders tonight. Lisa, with your smug look from all your great Philly sports teams destroying the competition right now. Oh, it just makes me sick. My Giants, let's talk about my Giants. They're off to their best start in 14 years, but they're still chasing those Eagles, who are off to their best start, let's see, ever. What do Jalen Hurts and company have to say about a perfect 8-0 start?
Oh, Max, it is good to be a Philly fan right now. And as much as I know it must pain you to acknowledge, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are balling. Hurts has won 11 consecutive regular season starts dating back to last season, and entering the week, he was the only player in the league with at least 10 touchdown passes and 5 rushing TDs. He's got 6 of those. Also entering this week 10, the Eagles had an NFL best plus 15 turnover differential, winning the takeaway battle in each of their first 8 games. And they have never trailed at any point in the second half of a game this season. So when you look at the numbers, 8-0 makes perfect sense, but it's also something that players and coaches say they are not concerned about. It's easy to get distracted at 8-0, according to tackle Lane Johnson. He said, everyone wants to tell you how good you are, so our message has been focusing and attacking practices. Nick Sirianni said their perfect record has not been discussed in the locker room, other than the focus of trying to go 1-0 each week. It might sound cliche, Sirianni said, but if you keep saying it and living it, that mindset becomes contagious.
And Lane Johnson, to me, has always been the tipping point on that offensive line, right? Which is excellent as it normally is. All right, Lisa, the Commanders, we know how this goes in the NFC East with these rivalries. The Commanders need this one tonight, right? A loss would mean they'd be 4-6 and 0-3 in the NFC East. Where's their confidence they can get it done tonight?
Well, the Commanders clawed back to 500 after that 1-4 start, which is why last week's close loss to the Vikings was so frustrating. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin said to be in position to win the game and then to look up at the scoreboard and you didn't win, it was deflating. Of Washington's 9 games so far, 6 of them have been decided by 6 points or fewer, including 4 wins. So while being close doesn't really get you anything in the NFL, it's the reason why the Commanders believe that tonight could be just the signature win that they need. McLaurin told me they've all heard the talk all week about how good the undefeated Eagles are. He said not too many people are expecting a lot out of us on Monday, but we have a confident group and we're looking forward to the challenge. Now, backup quarterback Taylor Heineke, he could be making his last start in place of Carson Wentz, who told me his broken right ring finger has healed well, that he started throwing a football again this week and is hoping to be cleared to play in Washington's Week 11 game against the Texans. Wentz told me even though he won't be playing tonight, he is expecting to hear a little bit of everything from the fans while on the sidelines for his first trip back to Philadelphia since being traded to the Colts in February of 2021.
Well, Carson Wentz getting healthy is certainly good news for the Eagles. Thank you, Lisa Salters. That is the pre-game show with Lisa Salters. Thanks, Lisa. Let's bring back Louis Riddick. Louis, what's the biggest concern for the Eagles tonight as they look to extend this unbeaten run?
I don't really know, Max. I don't really know what the biggest concern is other than, look, in all seriousness, it's complacency. It's turning the football over because, look, 1 through 53, they have the firepower at every single position in order to deal with whoever is put in their way. It's about self-inflicted wounds. If all of a sudden that plus 15 net differential that they have compiled so far this year, that is just blowing away the nearest competitor, if somehow that starts to slide the opposite way, that's how they can level the playing, or rather how teams can level the playing field against them. But the fact is that they have 18 turnovers that they have caused, and Jalen Hurts and the offense has only turned it over 3 times. 3 freaking times. You don't get extra chances. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They don't put themselves in disadvantageous situations. As a matter of fact, they create them against you. That is really, right now, the one obstacle that they could wind up putting in their own way and stop them from having this train continue to go down the tracks. We've seen it happen before. We know how teams can somehow lose their mojo. That isn't always necessarily an injury-related thing, but somehow they start not paying attention to the details and they get off the rails, so to speak. But as Nick Sirianni has said, the more he emphasizes these cliche type of things, the more it becomes ingrained in their culture and in the way they just think and the way they play. And right now, it's not just Nick Sirianni that's putting forth that message. The players are putting forth that message. They understand what kind of track that they're on. They understand how special this season is. They know what it takes to win games. They know they have the players to win games. That's why this team is so intriguing. Like, what is to stop them at this point?
Louis, I think of when I think about a construction of a football team, the wideouts and the different skills positions, that's like the furniture in a room. The architecture to me is the line of scrimmage, right? Eagles have the best line of scrimmage, I think, in the NFL. On top of that, they have all the furniture and the quarterback and the coach, and they're undefeated. Louis, is it too early to talk about them going undefeated when you look at the schedule and at least FPI saying what their percent chance to win is? They're only the underdogs and only but barely at the Cowboys, Week 16. Is it too early to talk undefeated season?
No, look, it's always fun to talk about it when you start weighing percentages and looking at the probability that they can wind up reeling off wins in all these games. But look, man, the Packers are no joke. The Titans are no joke either. Look, the Titans can play bully ball with the best of them, and they can make a game real muddy and real ugly for you. The Giants are one of those football teams that you sit there and you go, well, let me look at roster A, the Giants, roster B, the Eagles. Well, roster A should never be roster B, but they continue to win football games. So, look, there are no gimmies in the NFL. There's the probabilities and whether or not they line up in your favor, but there are no definites. Because on any given Sunday, we've seen that how things can just turn on this football team, especially in those one-off situations. But with this team, like I said, it's more about them, I believe, than it is about their opponent. Because they are built the right way, inside out, front to back, lots of different variations of things they can throw at you. That's what makes them so fun and why they've compiled the record they have to this point.
Speaking of probabilities, the way math works is if you're 80% one week and 70% the next, now you're down to 56% to win both. And if you're 70% next, now you're about 40% to win all three. So actually, those odds say they shouldn't go undefeated, but it's very hard to go undefeated. Louis Riddick said it himself. Fun to talk about, though, with this team and not unrealistic. It's
on the season tonight against the Commanders, and of course, a big reason they've won the turnover battle in each of their first 8 games. They can become the second team in the last 80 seasons to win the turnover battle in 9 straight games. It hasn't happened since the Baltimore Colts back in 1958. Can you believe that? Jalen Hurts showing off that arm lately. 8 passing touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns over the last 3 games after having 4 passing and 6 rushing over the first 5 games. Taylor Heineke, Monarch, gets another start for Washington, and the Commanders might be better off. They're actually 9-9 with Heineke over the last 3 seasons. 9-15 with all other quarterbacks. As Herm Edwards is with us, and do you just want to, I know, just get it out of the way.
Fly.
Say it again. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm just saying.
This is what you're getting with Herm Edwards back here. And listen, division games can be really tricky. Yes. All right, there's always an opportunity. How long have you known Ron Rivera?
Oh, grew up with him. So we go way back 30 years.
Okay, so you know this guy. You know what he's capable of. You know his mindset. He's a terrific coach. Kind of put us in his mind and give us a game plan for this team to upset the undefeated Eagles.
You talked about it earlier in the segment. The Eagles are taking the ball away. If you're Ron Rivera, you have to stress to your football team, especially the offense, do not get behind the chains on first down. Stay ahead of the chains. When you get behind the chains, they're going to put you in a situation where you have to go back and throw. In Philadelphia, that crowd's going to be ramped up, and you got problems. Muddy the game. Make it an ugly game. First down is critical. Make some noise on first down. Don't get behind the chains. You might have a chance. This is a really good Eagle football team.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Washington, they were hoping that Chase Young would be back by the start of the season, but he is still not active, so they're not going to have his services, but they haven't all year. Should be a good one. Much more from you coming up, Herm. Thanks. Good to have you.